everybody, welcome to a new episode of Nobody Asked Us with Des and Kara, presented by Brooks Running.
Oh my God.
What was happening?
I'm shocked by the energy level. This is how you've been all day. Yeah, I don't know. There's like a lot going on. And then right there, you were just like, boom.
Just waiting for the moment to shine.
Had to bring it. I had to bring it.
You barotted it. That was amazing.
You guys dropped that on me last second, and I have, big shoes to fill. So
Delivered.
Did you say who you are?
Oh, sorry guys. This is editor Chris McClung. So Nobody Asked Us with Des, Kara, and Chris today.
Woohoo!
Which is awesome.
It is awesome.
Coming from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Normally listening in on the headphones, but not normally on the mic. So excited to be on with you guys. I know you feel better about not having had to do the intro and slough it off on me today.
Doesn't count towards hers, just for the record.
No, that's mine. That was mine. So next week is Des again.
Well, I don't know. I think didn't Kara open the Brooks episode?
Pretty sure I did.
Really?
I feel like Des did.
Okay, I don't remember now, I guess. We'll have to go back and check the tape.
We'll check the tape. That's right.
Either way, that was the most energy I can expend in any period of time. Yeah. So
do you need a nap now? You gotta take a 5 minutes to this.
Now I need a nap, and the rest may be a little bit lower key.
Well, you did bring it, so I respect that. I think you've earned the lower key rest of a show.
Nice. Well, excited to have the episode with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for joining us. I'm excited that you're here. We're going to chat about some stuff, the three of us, and then we're going to dive into something fun about you, Chris. But before we do that, how's everybody's weekend?
Like I just saw you, Kara. In real life. In real life.
Was it amazing? Was your weekend amazing, Des?
Fired things up. Well, it was Friday we hung out, so that was good. And then I got to chill and watch you on a broadcast. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, that was fine. The races, okay, so we were at the Brooks Cross Country Championships in San Diego. I love that you have your letter jacket behind you right now. The inside of that thing is cool.
The details are great. Yeah, they did good with it.
It's awesome.
Thinking about wearing it around. I might get some patches on the sleeves.
Some chevrons.
Yeah.
Wait, where's that letter jacket stored? Are you at?
We're not talking about it, Chris.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
It's okay.
I mean, Kara brought it up, so I'm like, do you just travel with it?
Yeah.
Is that just in your closet at home?
That's right. It's a new room. Maybe I'll put it on.
It's so all the kids that qualified for Brooks XC got these jackets, and then they gave them to like Des and I and other people that were helping with the broadcast and stuff and just helping out with the meet. But they're legit. They're like super nice. The inside is nice. Like Des just showed you, it has a different pattern. All of these thoughtful details. I was like, dang, I might wear mine at the grocery store later.
Do you think that maybe Colt won't get a real Letterman's jacket now?
He legitimately said it because, I got it. And then I'm like, Colt's going to try to take this from me. And Garrett's like, well, that's what we're hoping. And then I brought it home last night and I'm like, we get to share this one. He was like, do you think I should just have this and not get my other letter jacket? And I was like, no.
No,
I mean, come on.
There's nothing about that screams Fairview High School. You still need to get your real letter jacket.
They could do these, they could do patches, chevron patches for the year you ran it.
Yes.
And
and anyone that comes back would get like a secondary one.
Right. Like they should build on it. That'd be kind of sick.
They should definitely do that. That can be your contribution.
I did feel like we were talking to Garrett and he's like, every single person here has an idea for what we should do or what we should be doing. But just go ahead and add it to the idea pile, Garrett.
Yeah, just add it on for 2026. Everyone's like, you know what you should do?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a good idea.
Yeah.
The kids got like spoiled. So they got a suitcase filled with stuff to travel there. So they got like sunglasses and gear for the plane and all that stuff. And then they got there and they got more stuff. They got all their racing kits, all that stuff. The girls got pajamas. I don't know if the boys did or not. I'm sure they did. And then they even got like Coro's watches, and those kids were hooked up. They got all sorts of Brooks shoes. It was awesome. Like I knew a couple of the kids that ran there, and they were like, "We can't believe all the stuff we've gotten and how nice everyone's been." And that's the game anymore. You got to give the kids stuff. So Brooks absolutely crushed it in that sense. It was good.
Yeah, I mean, beyond the stuff, the races were really cool. Obviously, being in San Diego is fun. I
Yeah.
know I was in Florida for a bit, but just like the history of it, but also being in San Diego this time of year, I
Mhm.
was happy about it. Not
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
complain. It
It
was
was
like
really nice.
like feet of snow, you
And the
know.
races were so good. Both the boys and girls races were really good. Neither of them were blowouts. They were all like down to the wire. They were the kids were awesome. They ran such good races and it was cool. And you know one thing they did that I loved was they acknowledged the top 3 obviously on the broadcast, but then they lined up them all up and they all came through the introduction area and got a medal and got like acknowledged for racing that day. And so they did first through 50th place. And I thought that was super cool because when I was there, first through 15th were the only ones that were recognized because that's all American. And so like one year I got in the top 15, but the next year I was missed it by 2 spots and it was like, wah, wah. You get, you get to go home with your uni and your t-shirt. And
Right.
so I thought it was super cool that they all got to stand there in front of their parents, in front of their support, and be acknowledged and take a big group photo. So I thought that was a really cool touch that Brooks did too.
Did they do a reception afterwards, or did kids just go straight home?
No, they all went back and the kids so it was at this big resort with all these heated pools and like putt-putt golf and all this stuff. So Adam and I were only back for like a couple hours and then we left for the airport, but the kids were swimming and putt-putting and then they had like just a kid party that night. I'm not exactly sure what went down because I wasn't there. But back when I was there was like a reception where they gave out the medals, but they did all that at the course so that the kids could just be kids and hang out and have a fun night. So it
Nice,
was
I like
cool.
that. I do think again next year, idea for Garrett's idea bucket day. Obviously, the kids should be kids, but that day, that morning, I guess it would have been there was 2 waves, one at 8 and one at 10. There's a Santa run in PB, and everyone dresses up in Santa costumes, or there's some reindeer things like that. But Ryan and I went for a run in the morning, and there was just Santas everywhere, drunk Santas all over San Diego. I think that maybe they should have like the kids race, they finish, and then the parents hit the 10 a.m. wave of Santas. And we do a post race party for the parents who obviously support the kids all year long and deserve their own party, I
I
think.
think there should be a post-race parent party for sure. Another thing that was discussed was like an alumni race.
Oh, that'd be
So,
fun.
like, you had like Bob Kennedy and Adam and Jorge, they're all like, you know,
Yeah,
a little broken. And then they're all back out on the course just racing each other. It
that
would be
hill
kind of funny.
somebody for sure.
That's second. So
Like
I did like that little thing on the broadcast from the top of that hill. And I have to tell you, walking up there, I was like, wow, I forgot how legit this is.
steep.
And they go up it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, and like
unrelenting.
the up is hard, but also, like using the momentum on the down, not like s-
Yeah,
crushing your legs.
right.
It was
That's the steep
humorous.
downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, did you watch the races? What'd you do this weekend?
I didn't get to watch the races because I had kids soccer stuff happening, but I did follow it on the social. And I just wanted to shout out the Brooks social team because I felt like they did a killer job telling the story on the social side as also good on the flow track stuff. So I felt like I watched it even though I didn't.
Yeah.
I was just following the social updates, but those were killer. And it
Mhm.
it did seem like the kids were appropriately featured and given their due through that
Yeah.
platform. So that was cool to see.
Yeah. I thought all the social content was awesome after. I have a child who runs and he was like so jelly going through all the social stuff. He's like, God, that looks
I-
so cool. I gotta make it some year. So they did a great job. And it was, I agree with you, Chris, super appropriate. It was about the kids, as it should be. But it wasn't, sometimes it can be about other athletes that are there or like, yeah, I don't know. They crushed it because they made it about what it was supposed to be about, which is these amazing kids that qualified and got to run in San Diego. So It was
How
cool.
long did those intros take? I mean, I thought they were really good. I think we got to pick a single bullet, maybe two.
No, you can't get rid of the intros because
No, I'm
that's
saying
part of
per
the tradition.
kid, like, pick the 1 or 2 bullet that is the most important. Because it felt like they're all so good, and these bios were like I
True.
was like, "Sh this kid's still going? Let's
I
wrap it
know.
the next kid
Well,
out."
you know what's funny is when I ran there was only 32 kids that made it, and I
Okay.
remember thinking it took forever then, and now
Yeah.
there's 50 kids. So yeah,
You can either
it
let
does
them in
take a
jacket,
while.
your bullets on their jacket, like, "Hey, we can see you're a big deal," and then pick the best one, get to the start.
True.
The
Those
kids
are
at
the
the
things
beginning
that
are
make it
getting out their
special
wings.
though.
Yeah.
Like having that introduction where every kid gets talked about on the broadcast, every kid gets seen, every kid gets to run into down to the start. Like those are the things that they've been doing since 1979 that I think set it apart from other things. It's cool. I love the things that they've kept. I think it's important, and I think it struggled so much because it was like year to year with contracts. So like it would just be, yeah, we'll help you this year. And then it was always
Like a
like struggling,
Band-Aid.
struggling. Yeah, a
Yeah.
band-aid, constant band-aid. That's a perfect analogy. And so now with Brooks and Fleet Feet saying, no, we are here, we're gonna stay. I thought they did a great job. And yeah, I'm just excited about like the future, but I'm excited about those little things, those little historical things that they've kept. I think it's really awesome.
Yeah, it's
So
good balance of their own touches and changes, but you're right, a lot of the history was respected and kept
yeah.
around. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious what's y'all's perspective having been, high performers in high school. When you look at these resumes, it's absolutely insane what these kids are doing, not just raw times, but just the depth of their experience and performances. I mean, it just seems next level. Does it seem that way to y'all too, having grown up in
Yes.
a different era, so to speak?
Yes.
It's
I mean,
just insane.
I didn't even know, well, granted, like I'm old, right? So we didn't have internet and stuff. But like I didn't even know what it was Foot Locker back when I was younger, and I didn't even know what it was. Like Carrie Tolson's parents told my parents about it. So they told my parents about it at the state track meet when I was in ninth grade. They were like, why didn't you have her run, try to qualify for the national cross country meet? And they were like, what's that? And so I didn't even know that this stuff existed. And I went and like again, I talked about it on the pod. It like blew my mind. It totally made me realize how big running was. But that was it. That was the one thing I did. Now they're like have multiple cross country championships. They have indoor championships, outdoor championships. They've run all this stuff. They do these crazy workouts. It blows my mind. Yes, it is like totally different. And there's parts of it I love and parts of it that I don't, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, some of it's too much, right? I
I thought
mean,
Yes.
part
the
of it
reason the
is
reason why
wrong.
you hold Colt back because you
Yeah.
don't want him peaking too soon, so to speak.
Yeah.
I think beyond that, though, it's like we talk about the NIL stuff so much, and it's professionalizing the sport for children. And should children be in a professional, like it just changes so quick. Like kids should be kids,
Right.
but these sort of like they're great and like they're keeping all of those components. But when you add so many of these opportunities, and then you add in NIL, and then you add in the training to try to get these deals or get the invitation, like it's a lot. It would be nice if it got trimmed down to just the most important stuff,
Right.
just so that it's not like meet after meet after meet. I don't know.
Right. I know. These kids have been racing all like at high level all year. Like it's not even like the national championships and the regionals to qualify for them. They go to these big invitationals, and it's yeah, it's really interesting to watch. And I've expressed this. It makes me really worried about their futures and where do you go from there? What does it look like in 5 years when they've gotten through college? Like, do they still even love the sport? Do they still do it? And I think for most of them, they still will, but I do worry. I'm not going to say who, but I talked to a kid about the training that this child did to be ready for this championship. And this kid was running 25 miles a week more than when I won a silver medal at the world championships.
It's crazy. That's crazy.
So that to me was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, you're too young to be doing all that, But it's not my kid, and I'm not the coach, and they're not my kid, but I just like that makes me worried.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long. I mean, is it getting a head start? And so you're banking miles and experience, and that's going to, help you the deeper into the sport you go and the more years you're like until you hit your peak. Or does it mean the peak comes earlier and then there's kids who start taking it serious in college and, like that longevity game um, versus peak years is going to be, it'll just be interesting to see
It
unfold.
will
And
be interesting to see. And I think that a lot of the kids will go on and do great. Don't get me wrong. I think they'll still grow in college, but I do worry. And granted, like, this race was there when I was there and I wanted to be ready for it. But I still just ran my little 30 miles a week and was like, I hope I'm good enough.
yeah,
Like, I think I knew a couple of kids that were there, and one of them had a great day. One of them had a not so great day. But what I really loved about both of them was they were like, this is just the beginning.
yeah,
I'm just here to have fun. And they really were just there to have fun. Like, they wanted to run well, but they weren't like, no, I have to win, or I have to be in the top 5, or I have to. And that's just the one thing that I would like want these kids to know is like, this literally is just the beginning. And so you don't have to like win here or even be in the top 30 here to matter in 6, 7, 8 year, 9 years time. Like, it's okay to just come and run your best, but also just have fun.
yeah. How does that roll back to the regionals though? Because like if you're there, like you're top tier for sure. You're getting the intro, you're getting the stuff, you're getting college coaches looking at you. But then you go back to the regionals, and it's like, okay, well, do I have to be? Is it, is the pressure on that regional? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. Like, just to even qualify, you have to care, right? But I
Yeah,
just think like the 2 kids that I knew that were there, they definitely cared. But I just really liked both of their attitudes. Like, one of them, Rocco Culpepper, he just raced differently than he had raced all year. He was in like dead last, and then he just moved up the whole time. And he was like, it was kind of scary because it was not how I usually race, but he ended up being like, I felt so good and I just kept catching people. And so I was like so happy for him. And
yeah,
then the other kid, Lucas Wick, he's just tired. He ran an XR, and then he ran Brooks Regional, and then he ran the Garmin National Championship, and then he was here. So he was just kind of like, he was just sort of like, I'm a senior and I made it here and I'm having the best time. And of course, I want to run as good as I can, but I'm tired, you
also going
know?
to the beach later.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
they both seem to have such good attitudes about it. And I think the majority of the kids are like that. I just worry about the kids. I definitely saw a couple girls, I would say, more than the guys that were like inconsolable. And I wanted to be like, this so does not matter. This so doesn't matter. I know it's your whole world. I'm inconsolable. And then like not hanging out with the kids when Adam and I were leaving, like weren't there, were with their parents. And I get it, but I'm also like, I just, I didn't really meet the kids. So I wish I had met them so that I could go up and be like, can I talk to you for a second? And just say like, this is, I
perspective.
promise you, yeah, this is just a little thing, and the fact that you got here is such a big deal. And I know it feels like everything right now, but I promise you in 3 years, like, this is just going to be a little one stop on what is hopefully a long and fun career.
Yeah,
So, it's just like, and I think that's how the sport is for anyone, right? Is like some people, it is their entire identity, but it makes me sad when they're that young and they're that upset. It's like, oh, honey, I promise you, this is nothing. This is nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you just want them to enjoy it, as you said,
Yes.
have fun with it, still be excited to do it. I remember I don't know it from from the running side because I didn't run at a high level in high school. I was a soccer player. Now as a parent, I know it raising soccer players, and my oldest is a really high level player. And I remember when we joined the club that we are currently with, the director was meeting the parents, and I remember him saying, success isn't getting to a certain level or winning certain games or even getting to a certain college or anything like that. But success is having the kids still want to play when they're seniors in high school and beyond. And I remember that so well. And especially now watching my son, who's a junior, he's got teammates that are falling away because they're just tired. They're burned out. They've been in this pressure cooker for too long. And somewhere along the way, it stopped being for them and they're
Mhm.
just kind of falling away. And thankful that my oldest is still motivated to do it. And I think a lot of that comes down to just making sure you don't put too much pressure on them. It has to come from them. Not that I'm perfect at that, but I know you're good at that with Colt, Kara. But you just gotta let them drive it. Let fun still be forefront, even if they're high level performers, because otherwise they're gonna resent it at some point.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. Do you see that, like, higher level coming in earlier and younger in soccer as well, or is this something we're just seeing with running? And what do you think is the catalyst, if so?
I think it's both. I think it's similar in both, and it happens at different levels for or different steps in the process for different kids because in soccer, just like with running, the stakes get raised the further along you get in the system. And so at each stage you'll have some kids fall away because it's too much and it seems to happen I think probably the same in running. And I think it just goes back to that just parenting mentality that performance is one thing, but it's actually the least important thing. The most important thing is, are they enjoying it? Are they driving it? Are they wanting to do extra practices or play at whatever level they're playing at? If they don't, you have to let them fall away from it, even if that's hard, obviously, with the right encouragement to not quit and things like that. I mean, it happened this year with my middle child. He's a soccer player as well, but decided to quit club soccer because he was tired of the performance element of it. He's someone who's more motivated by participation and enjoyment in general, whereas my oldest is really competitive. And we sort of kept him in the system for a while because he was staying with it. But then he just said, I don't want to do it anymore at this level. So now he's playing in school and that's fine, but he's quit the select kind of world and that's been the right call for him. But I also, as a parent, I second guessed, were we pushing him too hard at any point that caused him to now step away? So I think that's as a parent is just really hard to balance that, wanting to push them and motivate them while also just remembering that, hey, if they're not having fun, if they're not enjoying, if they're not driving the work and the steps that you take in the sport, then at some point it's probably going to come back to bite them or you.
But I think you did such a good job there because a lot of parents and the well-intended are worried their kid's gonna fall behind then, and, like, then the chance at the scholarship or whatever it is might fall away. So they're like, "No, just give it one more year or whatever," but now your son is able to, like, still play, but in a way that he wants, and now he's also been able to take up another sport. You know what I mean? Like, but that's hard. I mean,
It is hard.
like, Colt used to play soccer, and it started to get so serious, and it was like he wasn't gonna get to do anything else, and Adam and I were like, "This is too much because we know this isn't his dream,"
Right.
you know? Like, and I think it's really hard, and I Des was asking about, like, soccer kinda being professionalized like running. I think it was professionalized first. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it went down that route first before the youth running side did. Or maybe I just wasn't aware of it until Colt got older that running was the same way
Um,
now.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. I know that it's definitely that way now. And, if you're going to play at the highest levels in soccer, then they're identifying you as a talent earlier and earlier. And they're sort of earmarking kids at 12, 13, 14 years old to be academy players and then, potentially MLS or higher level club players. And it's kind of insane because just like with running, they haven't even for young runners, they haven't even experienced puberty yet. So how do
Right.
you even know how that's going to manifest later? And I feel like the downside to that for especially American development is, and maybe it's true in running too, is that you're missing players that just develop later. So the funnel has become way too narrow and it's only gotten more narrow because if you're not identified at a young age now, there are now fewer and fewer outlets for you to develop because you haven't been earmarked in a certain way, especially on the boys' side. It's true on the girls' side, but a little bit less true because the collegiate system is no longer a development pipeline pathway for American high school players. It's not. It's if you're going to go D1, you're probably international player that came from a pro league already and is now hopping over just like you guys talked about with running, now hopping over at 21, 22, 23 to be freshmen and play for some D1 program here. So you've lost that pipeline. And unless you're identified before that, you basically play through high school in a club system and then you quit. And that's it.
Brutal.
Well, this is uplifting.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean, I don't uplifting or not. I mean, it's just, and there are stories of exceptions. Like there's this great story of this Austin player who wasn't recruited, played at a high level club here in Austin, but wasn't recruited collegiately. And he took a gap year, went to Madrid, where he was living with his grandparents who were from Spain. And he was playing soccer, pickup soccer in Madrid, just on a random field, happened to get spotted by a Real Madrid scout, was invited to a Real Madrid tryout, made one of their young teams, and is now, I think, a U23 rostered player for Real Madrid. And he was a American kid who was going to get left behind.
Well, I think there are more exceptions than we want to believe. I was just looking up her last name. The girl that got second, she's a junior, Blair Bartlett. She was a tennis player until last year. Then she ran track and she was good. This was her first year of cross country. And she got second at the national championship. And so I think one of the things I would just want to ease parents' nerves is like, granted, I don't know the soccer world because we stepped out of it pretty early on and just went to rec because I was like, and maybe I gave up on my kid, but I was like, he's not going to play professional. And like, he's losing his ability to keep playing the drums and do other sports if we go down this path, you know? And yeah, maybe I'm just harsh, but I was like, he's not going to make it to the MLS. I know that. But I think that when you are really talented, I do think it just shows like this girl, Blair, right? She's just a good runner. And so once she started running track last year, she was a tennis player, she started running track and it was like, it's impossible to ignore. So then this year she decided to run cross country. And now she's second in both national championships. So just to give people a little hope,
Yeah.
like
Well,
if your kid is
I'm not saying you
destined to
should be
be great,
hopeless.
yeah, they
I
will
The
also
nice thing,
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it with some of these kids too, and like, what advice do you give to parents with, younger athletes, and what's the best path to get really good? And we always, I mean, I don't have kids, but my advice is always like, just let them be athletes. Like, if you're an
Yes.
athlete and you're athletic and you're doing a bunch of different stuff, like, particularly for running, you can get it into it much later and see all that athleticism pay off. And we see it a lot, even in the pros. Like, I think of like a Gabby Rooker, who's like
Mhm.
just getting into her marathon career and crushing it, but she was a gymnast. Like, the
Yeah,
athleticism and doing a lot of different things and not being super specific when you're young is kind of advantageous on the running side. Soccer, different story,
definitely.
but
yeah, and running is nice in a sense that once you do participate, it's democratic in a sense. I mean, it's the
Mhm.
clock.
Yeah,
It's the clock. You're racing against the clock and everybody else, and so you don't have the subjective nature sometimes of soccer evaluation that can come in. Just like, did you run fast enough or not?
right.
But the moral of the story is let your kids be generalist athletes, as you said, Des, and let them drive it. Don't push
Yes.
them too hard because then they'll fall out of love with it. And then you'll be the sad parent when they decide to quit because it was too much.
Yep. Okay,
good stuff.
that's the perfect way to end that, don't you think?
I think there's a good pivot from there. Did you want to talk about the meet specifically, or do you want to talk about an athlete who made a change with this sort of
Yeah, I
idea
think that pivot's
on
good.
your
Go
agenda?
there.
Yeah.
Go there, Des.
All right. Well, we saw
Pivot.
news recently about Athing Mo changing coaches, which it seems like was necessary. I don't know. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth or think for you guys, but it seemed like it was time. And we were just discussing before we started recording, is this a good change? That are we going to see her come back? Is it rejuvenating, or is this like kind of the moment where she has to figure out whether she really wants this or not. Like, does Athing Mo want to keep competing? Do we know?
Um, I'll just say that Chris has a really good perspective on this, which I want him to share. But whether it was our business to find out she has left Coach Kersee or not, I was so happy to hear this because it was clear to me she has not been enjoying the sport. She has not been enjoying it. And she needed a change. And whether she comes back or not, I'm just glad to see her like leave that group. Nothing against the group, but it just seemed obvious to me like she wasn't having fun. She used to race a lot more often. She used to run the 400. She wasn't doing any of that stuff. And I felt like every time she stepped to the line, because she rarely raced, it was just like so much pressure. And when she was in college, I mean, she left early, but the year that she made the Tokyo team and everything, she was racing relays all the time. She was doing all this stuff. She just seemed like she was having more fun. And so I was like watching her last year run laps of a 5,000 dropout, 3,000 dropout. I'm like, what is this
What are
girl
we
is
doing?
so such a specimen. Why is she doing this stuff? And I think, he explained it as she needed to get comfortable running in a pack and whatever. But I'm happy to see that she has moved on because it just seemed to me, and granted, I don't know her, but it
Yeah.
seemed to me she wasn't happy there. So whether she goes off and runs again, I'm just happy she's gone from that
Seems
group.
like the first step in like, hey, I want to do what's going to make me happy.
Yes.
Like taking control of what she's in for and what she's participating in, not like, okay, I'm just going to blindly follow the plan. I fucking hate it, but this is my
Right.
coach and this is my situation. It's just like, all right, I'm going to take the reins on this thing. We'll see where it goes, but I want to be in control of the situation a little more, which is nice to see her kind of take that ownership.
But I do want Chris to share his perspective because I think it is really important that even though I'm thrilled to read that she's left him, it's not really our business to know yet because she hasn't made any sort of an announcement, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was the frustrating part for me was reading the news. Let's run late on a Friday. Breaking news. Athing Mo has left Coach Kersey, which to me could have been a one-line tweet, right?
Mhm.
Coach Kersey confirms he's no longer coaching Athing Mo. But instead, it was an article where we got an interview with Coach Kersey, sort of telling the story that to me wasn't really his to tell. And at a minimum, yes, get his side, but if you don't have her side, then there's no story from my perspective, other than just to report the fact that Coach Kersey confirmed he's no longer coaching her. And so I'm a little bit frustrated with Let's Run that they gave him this platform to sort of manage the narrative without also accompanying that with her voice in some way, especially because, as you guys said, this should be about her. Like, whatever
Right.
she wants to do now, whatever she wants to make of it, then it's all about her. And I think, just outside looking in, it seems like it stopped becoming about her. Everybody became about everybody around her. And that was maybe why she struggled having fun with it. And so now this is just more of the same. If I was her and I saw that late breaking news, I would be so pissed. But I'm sure Let's Run reached out and asked her to comment, but why would she want to comment on it in that context? So I was just frustrated by how the news came out. I think Let's Run, if they wanted to share it, that's fine, but it's just a simple one line X post that just says, hey, Coach Kersey confirms he's not coaching her anymore. Because that's all that was really being told in that article, other than him trying to massage all the reasons why she didn't run well with him, which is
I couldn't
just,
agree with you more. I mean,
yeah.
when I left Salzar, I said, I don't want this to be public till I know what my next situation is. And he agreed to that. And then late one night, I got a text saying, they know at the Oregonian. I didn't tell them, but they found out. It's too late for you to give a quote, but just want you to know it's coming out tomorrow. And I was livid because I didn't have my situation set up yet. And now that was going to be whatever anyone asked me. So I can't even imagine because she is way more famous and way more popular. Um, and so again, it's like I was relieved to read that she was leaving him, but it felt like, again, just like you were saying, it's not his story to tell, it's her story to tell. She is the athlete, she is the star. It's her decision to leave, and we should hear about it when she wants to tell us.
Right. And then you reach out to him for a quote. A
Yes.
wonder.
Yes.
Right. So
And I
that was
agree.
my beef.
I agree with you, Chris. It could have been a tweet because it is news. It could have been a one-liner of Coach Kersee confirms that Athing Mo has left the group. Um,
That's
Even
it.
that feels a little like, but it's way better than interviewing him. I went and read the article yesterday, and I couldn't believe how long it was. I was like, why is he still talking?
Oh,
Yeah, it kept going, and he just was basically him explaining why she didn't run well under him. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a square peg in a round hole to begin with, but I do think it dovetails back to our previous conversation, which is that here you had a precocious performer who was performing at insane levels at a very young age, and the adults around her stole it from her, essentially. That's what it seems like.
Mhm.
Again, I'm sure the details are nuanced, but it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating to have watched, where the adults in the inner sponsor, inner coach, and whoever was telling her what to do, it just seemed like they they took the fun out of it for her, and then of course she's not going to run well if she's not happy.
Right.
We hope she's happy now. We hope
Yeah.
she then gets to now do with the sport with whatever she wants to make it, and sure, if she wants to make it something high performing again, it will be, but if not, that's okay too.
And Des and I have talked about that. We've talked about this before, like she's already Olympic champion. She has a world bronze. She has an American record. If that's her career, it's pretty freaking good.
suck.
You know what I mean? She's
God.
Olympic champion forever. She doesn't owe anybody anything more. If she wants to do it, that's one thing we would all welcome her and would love to see that. But if she doesn't, she gave us a lot already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's so interesting too. I just feel like people love to see the rise, but they also they love the fall just as much, which is pretty terrible.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I just think about her successes and then the last years, whatever they are, what they are. But yeah, she was incredible when she's on, and if she gets back to that, I'm all for it.
It's
totally.
also a reminder that prodigy is so hard to manage well. I mean, the Thing Mo stories versus the LeBron James stories, and those very different outcomes. Obviously, her story is yet to be fully written, but not many fewer prodigies go on to be Hall of Fame talents than they do to some for some reason fall away from the sport because of being pushed too young to do too much or whatever. And so I think we all have to be careful when we see prodigy just to pump the brakes a little bit. Just let it breathe, let it develop naturally. Don't try to force someone to go pro too soon or to do XYZ too soon because it's such a dangerous dynamic to manage.
I think the running world, we do a really bad job at that.
100%.
We do such a bad job. Like I was just thinking that I just did an interview earlier about Jane Hedegren and how much I love her and how I think she could be such a star as she gets older. And then they were like, well, what does she need? And I'm like, she just needs time. She's 19. She doesn't need to do anything different. She just needs to grow and get experience and have time. But it's like the obsession with her, the obsession with Cooper Fluttenhouse, right? It's like we do this, Mary Kane. I mean, we are horrible at this. We are really bad at this. Hobbs
Donovan
Kessler, we were
Brazier,
obsessed. Yeah, Donovan Brazier, like we get obsessed so quickly and it's never and I mean I'm guilty of this sometimes too. It's not like what they did right now, how amazing it is. It's like, wait till this. Yes.
That's next.
Yes.
And then they're
Yeah.
gonna move up, and then they're gonna just like let them
I
Yeah.
do.
mean
It's like,
that
yep.
Lucas Verbiscus or whatever, the
Yes.
the last double champion in
Hmm.
Nike and Foot Locker and Brooks. Where is he today?
Right. Right. We just move on to the next one. And it's unhealthy. And I myself can be guilty of it. I think Des has like held me accountable a couple times being like, don't say it. Don't say I can't wait to see what they do next. Like just be in the moment, appreciate what they just did right now. Cause I'm guilty of it myself. And I think I'm better than a lot of people, but it's just like this salivating. I mean, you should have seen the reporters at the World Champs for Cooper.
Oh, I'm
Like
sure.
he's sitting there with Olympic and world champions and he's the only one getting questions. And I get it. It's so exciting. He had run so fast. He's so young. He's only 16, but it was like, guys, you're losing your minds. You have to write about all these other people too. Like like it's disrespectful. You have Olympic champions here, you know? And it was wild to watch. Just people are just insane. So I get it. It's easy to get roped in, but then it's almost like Des said, it's almost like we set him up to fail.
Oh, but they love it too. It's
Oh,
like,
then they fail and they love it.
who's
Yeah.
the young kid, Quincy
Quincy
uh,
Wilson.
Wilson.
Wilson? Yeah, like, he makes that team. It's such a great story. He's on the relay, and then he gets put on the relay, and everyone's like, that they fucked up. Like, you could have
Yeah.
ruined every medal chances.
I
Like,
know. He
why would
almost
you
got us a
choose
spot
this
in the
kid?
final.
Like,
he's
he was
he's
fine.
16, right?
Yeah,
He's like just a
he
little
just
kid.
I'm not even saying it's the same people. Like, there's just a
No,
lot of people
yeah.
with all kinds of opinions. But when your stars have a moment where they slip, there's no grace there from people. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anywho.
Okay, we'll talk about no grace. Let's talk about Grand Slam track real quick.
Bravo.
Nice.
Because I
Nice.
weirdly don't have a lot of grace in this situation.
Not much
Because
sympathy.
I just feel like it's been lie after lie after lie, and they officially filed for bankruptcy, but yet didn't own it in their post. Still tried to blame it on this investor who they obviously did not have a lockdown contract with, or they would be able to sue that investor.
Bankruptcy would be
Yeah.
a problem right
And
now.
I'm so annoyed. And all the people who said to me earlier, oh, like athletes have never made this kind of money before. Yeah. And they still haven't because they're never going to see the money. And they sacrificed their ability to run in other races to give this thing a chance. And it failed them. And that's my soapbox. But I don't have a lot of grace for Grand Slam track. And it has officially filed for bankruptcy. And yet they're still saying they're going to come
Here.
back.
Who is running? Who's running next year? Who's signing on for that? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller?
Bueller.
Bueller? Hey, I'll do the 5,000 if you give me some money. I mean, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
My imaginary
Pre
$100,000, I'll do it.
prepay. You got to prepay.
In advance. That's the quality you're getting.
And I think it was cool that something new was tried, but I think the fact that it was doomed and they lied and they kept pushing forward, I don't know. I just don't have grace for it. Not
You
right
know
now
what?
anyway.
It was so ambitious. Like, I don't think anybody could look at the numbers of the prize purse alone and be like, how are you going to make this sustainable? Right. So you're like,
Right.
okay, this is going to be losses for a couple years. Who's going to be in for that? And then, how do you make this something that's going to earn money? It just, the numbers never made sense. But
Mm-mm.
on the other side of it too, I remember when they put out the prize purse and like so many athletes were like, fuck you, Diamond League. Look at it. This is real money. Like, we're out of here. We're never doing Diamond Leagues again. It's like, pump the brakes. If it looks like really good right now, let's pause and think about it a bit. But I agree. There was also just hey, we're going to be transparent here. We're going to be
Right.
transparent. Like that, we've heard that word so many times, and
They
it's
don't know
just
the definition.
this isn't transparent at all. I mean, did they even use the term bankrupt
They
in
didn't in their statement, but then
On
they
their
filed
statement.
that day. Yeah.
yeah. It's like, so yeah, let's just give us some truth at some point. But yeah, it's hard to listen to at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing that's weird about it is they're paying PR people, clearly. They're paying social media people. They're paying some of their residual staff. So they're spending all this money trying to maintain their image while they're not paying the bills that are due. It's just so bizarre. And also, as we said on our text thread, so predictable.
Yes. If you want to be transparent, show us the money you actually had and show us where it's gone. Who
Yeah,
did get paid?
open your books.
Right?
Michael? Who did get
How
paid?
much did you get paid, Michael?
Or maybe he didn't. I don't know, but like that would be transparent. We said we had 30 million. We actually only had X, and this is where all of the money went. How about you do that, Anyway,
That should come out in bankruptcy court, fortunately.
Right.
So
Well, for your own good and the
just tell
public's,
us.
just tell us.
Get out
Yeah.
of that. Yeah.
Get in front of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they're delusional to think that they'll have a chance to have a series next year. First of all, bankruptcy court takes time, I
Mhm.
mean, who knows, 6, 9 months, could be a year to actually get all of that done.
It
Meanwhile,
could
you
be
gotta
way longer because we were in bankruptcy court for like 3 years with a landscape company.
okay, yeah, exactly. So,
And it was we got pennies back on what we lost.
yeah,
do you
and
have
if
any? Sorry, do you have any insider info on whether those last payments
I do have some insider info.
returned?
So
Plus,
there was late payments that were made. So any payment made in the last 90 days can be recollected to be distributed. So athletes that got paid in the last 3 months or workers, whether you worked in the media side or the broadcast side or the announcing side or you're an athlete or whatever it was, that can now be taken back and redistributed, because no one's going to get what they're owed. And
right.
then essentially they get as much, like we went through this because we paid a landscape company a horrific amount of money to put a pool in our yard, and then they filed for bankruptcy. So basically, we went through this process where there were so many people. I mean, we were in the whole tens of thousands of dollars, and we weren't even in the top 50 of the clients. People were hundreds of thousands of dollars out. And essentially this company like sold their equipment, sold this and that, and then it was distributed, but it took years. And like I said, we got pennies on the dollar. So that's what my understanding is, Des, from someone involved in it, is that anyone paid in the last 90 days, legally that money has to be given back now, because that goes to the redistribution of like, this is what everybody's owed. And then here's the money we have. And then how does it fit
Yeah.
into all this stuff?
Nightmare.
Disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
disaster.
2026 season.
Right, and what venue's gonna sign on for them to do it there? I mean, there's just the hubris involved in this one is insane. And also, I mean, sometimes with these things, it'll get bought out of bankruptcy. Somebody will be like, "Well, hey, this is an asset I want." If a store goes bankrupt, somebody might have value in that brand. They're like, "Oh, I want the brand and the network and whatever." And you buy it out of bankruptcy, and you through that process have negotiated agreements with all of your creditors. But no one's going to buy Grand Slam track. It has no brand equity other than bad brand equity. So, so I don't see a scenario where you actually have Grand Slam track meets again.
I cannot fathom how that would possibly happen. Who is going to say yes? What venue is going to be like, "Yeah, I know you pay 3 years later, but sure, come to our venue." What athletes are going to go, like, they bit off too much. They should have done 1 or 2 meets, not had the prize money be so exorbitant, like, and it could have built into something great. But instead it was like, "I'm the savior. I'm going to save track. Track needs saving." And you screwed a ton of athletes and you screwed a ton of hard workers. And I'm so glad I turned that job down. I cannot even tell you how pissed I would be if I did that job and I never got paid for it.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, even the concept, like, is somebody going to go like, "Oh, that was so valuable. We don't want any part of Grand Slam, but let's like revive the concept and like we can be the new place where you go to double." Like, probably
Right.
not a win. Yeah, interesting. Final
Well,
thoughts on that?
just,
Anything?
I'm an asshole about it.
Oh, I think it's completely fair.
Just
I
go
just
away.
like think about the athletes and the people who put so much time and energy and effort and their careers on the line and getting screwed. It just makes me angry for them. So,
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I also think like again, we talked about this. We've talked about it a number of times and texted about it a number of times, and we're like, how does this work? Like, what am I
yeah.
missing? Because how does this work? Like,
But don't you think the athletes were misled? They were told, "I have a 30 plus
sure,
$1 million budget." And why? I mean, I guess they could have questioned it, but why would you? Like, they're writing you a contract with appearance fees. They're writing you a contract saying you're eligible to win this prize money. I mean, I don't know.
It was
I
pretty.
well, we're like it was too good to be true, but
I
I
don't
mean,
know. You
I
trusted
don't
your gut in this broadcast job, like hey, like
I just got the ick.
if they
I
give
got
you
that
the money you asked
feeling.
for, you're like, fine, but it's still, you look at it and you're like, how does this work? How is this sustainable? It's a new league. Let's look at Michael Johnson's history with other business ventures. Like, I don't know. I would have, and whatever. It's easy to sit here now and be like, I would have been more cautious, but
But you know
I
what? It was easier for me to get the feeling that something was off because there was a lot of talk, but then when I got the offer, it didn't match the talk. And
exactly
I
right.
was like, something's off here, like this doesn't feel right. Whereas the athletes got the offer that matched the talk. I didn't, right? I got all this talk. It was going to change the world, all this stuff. We have so much money. And then I got the offer and I was like, where's the money?
You don't have that much money.
Where's the money? So like I had that feeling, like I actually got to see like, ooh, this isn't matching up with what they're telling me. Where the athletes, they got promised all this money and they had contracts saying they were going to get this money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I wonder how much, like, Grant Fisher stepping out of one of those last meets where, like, we're going to cut your event in half. Like, it happened quick. You know what I mean? It
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
like,
I think he
you didn't
stepped out
even
of that
do the
last one
last
on
meet.
purpose. Like he
Yeah.
was like, you guys
I'm
owe
not
me
doing
200
this.
grand and this isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah. So I
I
don't
mean, who
know.
knows? We're just making that up, but
Right.
wouldn't blame him.
Yeah. Anywho, it
Any
seemed good
any
for me.
final thoughts there, Chris?
no.
Okay.
We need to let it die.
I'll let it die. Let's move on to something positive.
What do you got?
Chris,
Let's
you have a
do.
new book out. Tell us about your book.
I have a new book. I've got a prop here for those watching on
Yes.
YouTube. Yeah, just released a new book called Running the Rogue Way. For those that don't know, I have a business called Rogue Running, which is a run coaching business. Been around for 21 years. So a long time coaching adult athletes, mostly in the half marathon and marathon distances, but really all distances. And we finally released a book that we've been talking about for a lot of years that basically captures our run coaching philosophy in, just 450 pages of light reading.
Okay, I'm obsessed with the length because that's some real thought and energy that went into that thing. And was it longer and did you edit it down? Or was it like, no, this is everything that needs to be in there and that's where it landed?
It certainly could have been longer because, I don't know. I think as you get into it, you think, oh, this will be, I don't know, when you first start, you're like, this will be 250 pages. That'd be a good length, right? But then you start putting everything in and it just starts to add up. We tried to be comprehensive. I think the thing for us was that we didn't want this to be something that you would necessarily read in one sitting or in a few sittings. This isn't something you pick up and go through on a plane ride or a long weekend. But this is more of just a reference tool that you can pick up, read sections of it, come back to it again and again, and it'd be something that you hopefully pull off the shelf again. It's got different sections. We talk about the fundamental principles. We talk about how do you build your schedule and routine. We talk about how do you periodize the work. We talk about race execution. We talk about the mental game inside of running and how do you prepare your mind for races. So we have different sections. And then as you start to put it all together, you say, well, this is actually 450 pages of good content. And I don't think it's too much. I think we're pretty, I don't want to say lean, but I think we're pretty efficient with how we share the information. And it's got 45 chapters, so about 10 pages per chapter. Each of those is topical. So you could pick it up, look at the table of contents and say, oh, I want to know about how to create a race plan. Go to that chapter and read it and get 10 to 12 pages of good content that you can apply for a race coming up. So that was the idea behind it. It was that we didn't want it to necessarily be something that you would sift through all at once, but rather that it could be a reference tool that you use the table of contents to kind of go back to frequently.
That's cool. So you could sit there and read it through if you really wanted to, or you
The
can be
nerd
like,
set.
I need
If
some
you're a nerd.
But it sounds like you have it broken up into all sorts of stuff. Is that right? Like,
Yeah.
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 So you're
Did
Yeah.
you
like,
have
No,
this
we
is what's
a section?
bothering me right now. I need to know about this, and then I can go in the book and find that part.
Yeah.
right.
Did you
Like
have
for
a section
example,
you really enjoyed the most that you were like, oh, this is its own book? Or was it like, these are all about what
I
they need
mean
to
the early stuff when we're talking about the fundamental sort of principles that we believe in, that stuff could be its own book. And it's hard for me to keep that stuff tight because I could go on and on about just the why behind what
You could
we
start a
believe in.
podcast.
Right. I did, I'm close to
You
400 episodes of
have
a
a
podcast.
podcast.
So, that part to me is harder to keep efficient because I'm, I don't know, I want people to understand the why behind why we do things, not just do it because I said so. So we probably could have spent more time there, but then that would get boring. But I do think there could be its own book. And as we were working through this one, I did conceive of a second book, which will be a project for another day. But I do have sort of the concepts for a second book that would be a good partner to this one. That would be a little bit more about how running and life intersect.
How long did it take you guys to write it?
So this was about a 3-year process. And as you guys know, it just takes a lot more time than you think. I mean, there's the content creation, which seems to be when you start, you're like, oh, that's 100, 80, 90% of it, right? You think that's all of it, but then there's all the other steps and they feel like they're never ending when it comes to editing and formatting and editing again and cover art and, you know, bios and all the different layers. And we were self-publishing, so we were doing a lot of that stuff under our own guidance. So it just ended up taking more time. I would say, about 3 years of kind of conceiving it and organizing it and about 18 months or so of focused work over the last 18 months.
Where can we find it? Where can we buy this book?
So you could get it on our socials. So if you go to at Rogue Running or at Rogue
Show it a
Chris,
little
which
longer. Hold
Yeah,
it
and
up.
turn it around. It was upside down.
sorry.
Better.
Zoom it in.
So
Zoom it
so
into the
you
camera.
can you can get if you go to my social media at Rogue Chris or at Rogue Running, there's links in the bio to buy it. So you can pick it up there through our self-publishing site. We use Ingram Spark for that. But you can also actually get it on Amazon and other Barnes and Noble and other places because it kind of propagates from there as well. But but yeah, I mean, it's to me the most important thing that people know about it is that it's intended to be for everybody. You know,
If Athing Mo picked up your book,
Where
what
would you tell her to
chapter
start?
what chapter would you send her to first?
I tell her to start at one. Because that sets
Back to
the
the
table.
basics, girl.
Yeah, start at one.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, it is so the subtitle is Elite Training Accessible for All. So I know that, the elitists like you guys want to gatekeep the running training principles
Obvi.
and say, well, it's just for the fast among us or the ones that are genetically talented.
Have you been to Boston?
Right. But but truly we're all human and we can all benefit from the same physiological principles. The paces and the volume might be different, but the physiology and how it works as humans are all the same. So we have a particular passion about teaching somebody, regardless of where they sit in the pack, about how they can apply good, sound, fundamental training principles that the elites also use to themselves and then therefore do things that they never thought possible. And it's less true now, but parts of the sport just want to gatekeep that stuff and say, well, if you're not fast enough, you're not worthy of that information, or you're not worthy to use it, or you're not worthy of having a coach who can help you apply it. But anybody, if you're putting one foot in front of the other, is worthy. And anybody, if you're putting one foot in front of the other, can apply those principles and get faster and do things that you never thought possible. So why not?
Kara is having that battle on Threads all the time. Head to Threads, help her fight the good fight.
I hate Yeah, Chris is the antithesis of that. I hate people that are just like, "You're not a real athlete." You
Yeah.
know? And I know that they're rage baiting me and I just bite every time, but I really hate it. Chris is the complete opposite. Like, what are the 3 most common things? I'm assuming all this is covered in the book. In fact, I know it will be because that's the whole point of writing the book. What are the 3 most common things that people want to know from you as a coach that are covered in the book? Whether it's when someone finds out you're a coach or it's an athlete of yours. I mean, you could
Hmm.
do more than 3 if there's a
That's a good
bazillion.
question. Well, I mean, most people want to know how they get faster, right? How do I get faster? And the counterintuitive point to that is that you actually have to run a lot of miles at really slow paces in order to get faster, which is true regardless of your level of talent. Because, one of the principles that we talk about is that mileage matters. The more you can run, the faster you will be. And that doesn't mean you have to run a certain amount of mileage. It could be from whatever your starting point is. If you're at 0 now and you go to 15 miles a week, that'll be massive for you. If you're at 15 and you can get to 25, that'll be a massive jump. If you're at 45 and can get to 55, that'll be a jump as well. So the more you can build the volume, the faster you will be. But in order to build the volume safely and to do it in a healthy way, you generally have to slow down for 80 to 85% of that volume, which means going a lot slower than most people are willing to. And then obviously you work fast on some 15 to 20% of it, depending. And then it all fits together to build the whole system. But most people aren't necessarily willing to go slow enough to really allow themselves to optimize their volume potential.
That's good intel right there.
But you guys are running 120 miles a week, right? As elite marathoners, and that's just what you did.
Mhm.
But you did that because if you could run more volume, you'd be faster marathoners. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, there's a limit. At some point, it stops becoming productive because you can only run as much as you can recover from that volume. And so, at some point, and all of us has a limit based on our structural lifestyle and the stress around us. Everybody has a limit, but you want to be able to get as much to that limit as possible, and then do it not just over a period of months, but ideally years and even decades if you want to see your real potential.
But you're right. I was a high mileage junkie. I responded to high mileage, but most of it was just easy running. It was like when I ran for Wetmore, the long run was hard. There was a hard workout Tuesday and a hard workout Thursday. The rest of it was just time on my feet.
Super chill.
Mhm.
Super chill, and it should be conversational, but it is that is a counterintuitive point. People think, well, I have to run fast to get faster. When and yeah, you do at some level. There's parts of it that is that part of it, but if you want to get faster, you got to run slower most of the time. And most people have a trouble wrapping their brain around that principle, and they want to question it. And so then they end up pushing themselves all the time, which not only means you're in the wrong aerobic zone to actually develop the way you need to, but you also typically get hurt when you do that, and then therefore can't have the consistent volume that you need to get faster. So
Any
that's
other hot
one.
button
You
topics?
asked for
Yeah.
three.
Yeah, you got
That's
2 more?
one. I think recovery is another hot button topic because people ask me all the time, well, what's the best way to recover? And one thing I always remind people is that you don't get faster when you're running fast or when you're working hard. You get faster when you recover from the hard work. It's just like strength training. You don't get stronger when you're actually doing the lifting. You actually tear your muscle down when you do that. And then you get stronger when it rebuilds back. And so running is essentially the same way. You don't get faster when you're going long or when you're doing the hard workouts. You actually get faster when you recover from that work. So the question is, well, how do I recover from that work? And everybody, when they think recovery, thinks about ice baths and massage guns and all the whiz bang things we like to pay money for. But really, it comes down to three things that are fundamental. One is easy movement. So you got to run or cycle to get the blood flow that's created by movement so that you can actually heal from the hard work. So your recovery running is as important as your hard running. Two, you got to sleep, as you gave me the little hand motion there, Kara. Sleep is critical. And the third is fueling. If you're not fueling well, especially after the long runs and the hard days, then you're only going to be tearing yourself down. And those three things are fundamental. If you can't get those three things right, then there's no point in worrying about ice baths or massage guns or any of the other whiz bang things that we like to pay money for.
Whatever. They can just not sleep, not eat properly, and not take care of themselves. But if they get in that sauna, they're going to be fine.
But if you are going to sleep, you should pay money for the
Yes.
right pillow.
There we
That's right.
go.
Woohoo!
Perfect segue.
So before number 3 of your list, let's talk about what pillow might help you sleep even better. Do you have any ideas, Kara?
Well, I'm partial to my Lagoon Des. That's what I'm partial to. My Lagoon
You would put an otter
Cooling
down.
Otter. My Cooling Otter pillow in my cooling pillowcase. And it's just heavenly as
Yeah.
I have a bazillion animals sleeping on me, making me hot. And then I'm cooled down by my pillowcase and my pillow. It's
Chris, do
amazing.
you have any science or is there any behind it with the cooling of the room and the temperatures and the blackout shades? Like, can you perfect that sleep? Not like trying to hack it, but it's obviously very important. Do
You
things like
can.
lagoon pillows matter? Do cooling sheets and beds give us some science behind it?
I mean, I'm not a sleep expert, but I do obviously learn about it a lot because as a coach is important. Cold room is one of the most important things. And so, yes, anything that would help cool you is going to be important. Obviously, you can do that through your air conditioner or the ambient temperature in some way, but I think a cooling mechanism via your pillow is an amazing way to supplement that. My, you know, I personally love it. It's, we talk about the phrase "it's cool as the other side of the pillow." Well, what if both sides of the pillow were cool? That would be amazing. But yes, those are two good ones. The cooling, because I think they say it's something like 65 or 66 degrees is optimal for sleep, which is kind of insane. I don't think we ever get it that low in Texas because it'd be an exorbitant AC bill, but that's what they say. And then I'm big on the blackout shade concept. I've got to have total darkness. I'm also the one that's putting blackout electrical tape on my appliances or TVs that have a little extra light around them
Yep.
because if I have that on, because when you first go to sleep, you turn off the lights, you don't see that. But then when your eyes adjust, and suddenly it's like the whole room is lit up. So yeah, that's critical as well. Get rid of that extra light. But taking it back to Lagoon, I have a Lagoon. Love my Lagoon pillow. I'm a chinchilla,
Team Chinchilla in the house.
which
I don't know how you
Des,
guys are
Des and I are
chinchillas.
team chinchilla, which are the thinner pillows. Still plenty of cush there, but Kara likes the fat otter. And so
Otter is offended.
so go take the quiz, which you can do if you go to lagoonsleep.com/nobody asked us. 2-minute little quiz that'll tell you based on the position that you like to sleep in and based on some other parameters, what thickness is right for you. And so I am 100% team chinchilla. I wouldn't be able to sleep on an otter if I wanted to.
No.
You're missing
Can't,
out.
can't
I
do
would
thick.
use an otter to read a book. You know what I mean? Like sit up and
Yeah,
watch
to prop
TV
up.
to prop
Yeah,
up.
or if I was getting sick and I wanted like the drainage prop,
Do you want
sometimes
to
I'll stack pillows that
smother
way.
yourself? Like just end
Yeah.
it. Ah.
But anyway, so
Well,
I
we
can't
all
relate to
love
the
our
otter.
lagoons.
We do.
Nobody asked us for 15% off, but right now they do have holiday specials. So if you buy more than one, you get a big discount. I love my pillow. I know everybody thinks we're just saying that because they're a sponsor of the show, but I legit love my pillow. And I have to say, we had such a good time in San Diego, but the pillows were
In the
terrible. They were
library.
not cooling. They were not puffy. They were sad, hot, flat pancakes. And I was really, really, really missing my lagoon.
And Lagoon has a travel pillow, so you could pick
Yeah.
one of those up. But yeah, right now 15% off if you buy just one, but they have deeper holiday discounts if you're buying multiple pillows or they have different bundles. So I think it's $60 off for 2 pillows and up to $160 off for some of their bigger bundles. So go check it out at lagoonsleep.com/nobody asked us.
Perfect. Because you need to rest. Okay, now tell us your third And final thing that people ask you about that you cover in the book.
So I don't know that people ask about this, but I think this is especially for runners that may not be at the front of the pack, something that they don't necessarily think about or give themselves permission to think about, which is what does it look like to have the strength and accountability of a team of people that are helping you get faster? I think a lot of people think of running as a solo sport, and it can be if you want it to be. I mean, that's the way it started for me as an introvert who just liked to get on my own time and process the world's problems. But as we see with the elites, they are better when they have a team around them. And I think that's true for everybody. And there's just, especially now, just such an array of available options for people at any part of the pack, front, back, middle, to access to groups that they can run with, people they can train with that are similar paces to them, and coaches that can coach them to become better. And we do it obviously at Rogue, but there's a lot of other options. And I don't care what your starting point is. Doesn't matter where you are in the pack. You too are worthy of having a coach or having a team of people that can help you get faster. Do you need it to become faster or to improve? Not necessarily. But if you want to get the most out of yourself, it's something I would highly encourage. And then it makes it so much more fun doing it with others.
Like
Cool.
that.
So
It's a good one.
that's
Well,
the third thing I would point
congratulations,
to.
Chris. That's a big deal.
Thank you. It feels a little anticlimactic, as you guys may, experience, where suddenly it's out to the world, but you've been working on it all this time. And then suddenly you're like, oh my gosh, it's more like an exhale than it is a big celebration at this point. but, but we're super excited about it. It is, everything I know about run coaching in 450 pages. I hope people find it and check it out. I do think it's really useful if you want to learn about how you can make yourself faster and reach your full potential. So go check it out at Rogue Chris or at Rogue Running.
And we'll have a link to that in our show
I'll
notes.
throw it in the show notes for sure. But
Karen and
thank
I
you
will make
guys.
sure there's a link
Thank
in
you
there.
guys. Thank you
Jess and I
guys for
will make sure.
right, right. Thank you guys for having me on to talk about it. It's cool that you're wanting to enable me to share it, even though you're elitist and would want me to gatekeep this and not let anybody read these things.
It's a
But
big deal, and we're proud of you. And we also got to hear all of your other takes on the hot topics today. So this has been really fun to have you on with us. I think people will love this. People love when Chris shows up.
I do. It's
we'll
a nice
Yeah.
see, for better or worse. A little Christmas gift for them.
Hey, well played. We should do a top 5? Yeah?
Top 5, Lagoon top 5.
All right.
Let's do it.
Who's starting?
One of
I've
you two is starting.
got one, so that's it. Just one. Should we start it?
I'll start. I'll start.
Ready.
So I mentioned my middle son. He's playing high school soccer now. He's a freshman, and my oldest is a junior. So my oldest is a he's on varsity, and the school has 3 teams. They have a varsity, JV, and a freshman team. So my youngest is on the freshman team. And again, he quit club because he wasn't having fun with kind of the performance side of it. He got to play his first scrimmage with the school team on Friday, and it was just cool to see him out there enjoying it. He actually started. He was when he first got on the team, because they had tryouts and everything else. He's like, I don't think I'm going to play much, this and that. He actually started at center back, played really well, played most of the scrimmage, seemed to be having a lot of fun. And then afterwards, driving back with him in the car, he was just, he actually said that was fun, Dad. I'm so glad he did it. And so that was just cool to see. So shout out to my middle son, Kylan, for putting himself out there on the school team and still having fun with it.
That's awesome. Good job, Kylan. Okay, I have one. I'm going to go with Adam Goucher, who is a total stud at Brooks XC. He loves that meet. It meant so much to him. He was mingling with the kids. He was handing out awards. He was in his element. But behind the scenes, that was the longest he's ever been away from our child. He flew to South Korea for 30 some hours once to watch me race. And he had never been away from Colt. They were apart for each other for 3 nights, and he survived it. And they were both like, That was too long. And just like a tip of the hat to him, not only just for showing up and being awesome at the cross country meet, like he did such a great job, but for being an incredible husband because as we all know, I am gone a lot more than 3 nights a lot of the time, and I could not do that without him. And I'm not gonna lie, we got back Saturday night and Colt wasn't here because he was skiing with his friends, and that was hard. Like they were both texting each other and they were both like, oh God, one more night. But it was actually beautiful and awesome. And so shout out to Adam and Colt. They have now they can do it. They can spend 3 nights apart. And he did a great job with the meet.
Slowly tackling the day by day.
Day
That's
by
pretty
day.
insane that that's the longest he's been.
I know.
That's insane. It's hard to fathom.
Right. It is crazy. And it's he's he's like, I will take care of it. I will be there. And he's like the definition of like a stay-at-home dad that like really did stay at home and took care of everything. He also had other jobs while this was going on.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it is crazy. And it was, we teased him a lot this weekend. We teased him and Colt, but they definitely were like ready to see each other yesterday. But
That's
they
cute.
survived it. But anyway, just shout out to him. He's a great dad. So
Nice. Love it. All right, I'm going to go with another great dad of 10, Philip Rivers at 44,
Aw.
gets the call up from the Colts 5 years into retirement and starts a football game. Amazing. It was a crazy story. I think it was worth watching. I feel like everyone in the NFL was watching the Colts game on the weekend, and he did a pretty good job. Like you could tell there's a little bit of rust there. You could tell he's been retired for a while, but you also see that talent never goes away. He could read the game. He was effective. He put him in a really good position with under a minute left in the game. And then I think their defense really just dropped the ball. But for like one day, I was a Colts fan, which is crazy. And yeah, Philip Rivers, bravo, sir. Also, a great interview after the game where he just talked about how it's scary and how doubts are real and you have to be brave. And he works with his little clan of children, 10 of them, plus he coaches a high school and they were watching him. And what a cool story for the NFL, I think. So
Very
bravo,
cool.
Rivers.
I mean, it was close. It was
Yeah,
close.
yeah,
I turned it on because I'm like, I gotta see this. It
yeah.
was awesome. But
It's just
kudos to him.
sheer
I also
curiosity. Yeah,
his press conferences have been amazing too. I mean, there's motivational fodder in every single one of those. So go check the clips of Philip Rivers. Speaking of having fun, I think he's just having fun, and that's pretty awesome.
yeah. It was cool to see. All right,
Shall
you're
I
up.
go again?
You
Yeah,
shall.
go for it.
Okay, well, I've got to shout out the team of people that help us put together this book and get it out to the world because it was not as I've said, it was not a me project. This was a we project. One of our runners, who's a MD, Jafar, is the co-author with me. He helped put together a lot of the content based on honestly listening to my podcast, which is kind of crazy. And then one of my coaches, James Dodds, edited for us. Another one of our coaches, Allison, helped formatting and using the self-publishing software as well as designing the cover art. So shout out to the full, and then so many people on the Rogue team involved in one form or another. So shout out to everybody involved in getting this out. It takes a village, as you guys know, to write a book.
You're such a nice guy, Chris. Such a good guy. Do you have a final one, Des?
No. How could I top that? How could I
I
top
know. You should have gone last. I was just going to say one more shout out to the team at Brooks and Fleet Feet for reinvigorating that high school national cross country championship. Did an awesome job, especially considering how they took control of it so close to the actual date of the championship. It was super cool to be there. It was fun to see the excitement, and it was fun to be a little part of it. Des and I did our little pod there, and it was just cool to be a small part of it. So
Yeah.
shout out to them.
Great one to end on. Way to send it home.
Thanks, guys.